Hi, good evening, friends. You guys, we are rusty. Very rusty.
Hi.
I'm Katie.
I'm Jenn.
We're both intuitives, energy healers, spiritual teachers, a disheveled mess, and together we are divinely guided.
And we like to join you once a month on the first Thursday of every month to help you connect with your spirit guides. But we were thinking we wanted to start doing something a little bit differently, where instead of you asking, very specific questions like, oh, what about this job or this love life or whatever, that we could start talking to you more as a group in a way where it's like you ask your questions, but we're going to answer it in a way where it can help the whole group. That way, people don't have to wait and be like, well, when's my own personal question going to be answered? And, there's so much that we're going through as a collective and a society right now, and really as a world, in this craziness that we're on planet Earth.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Yeah,
we just...
so a couple of things. Well, here's where we're going with this. We would love it if you guys could be more specific in your questions, because we know we get a lot of just, is there anything for me, or people want a general reading. We want to know what you're struggling with. What do you need answers about? And how are you looking to grow spiritually? So, for example, we have one question already that was asking about how to connect and hear with spirit guides. So that's a great spiritual development question. So 2 forms of questions. One, the struggle bus, like what are you struggling about? The other one could be, how are you looking to grow or develop spiritually? I hope that makes sense.
And so the reason we want to know, like, what are you struggling with, is because a lot of people are struggling with very similar things. So it could be maybe, you're struggling with the energies, or there's a health issue, and how do you approach healing? Or what kind of, maybe questions about energy healing or something like that, where we can connect with you, connect with the guides and everything else. We're still doing that, but the answers would be helpful for many, many, many people instead of maybe just a few. All right, so let's start with the first one.
Okay. Yeah. So we had, we will start with that. They would like to know how to connect.
It just says Facebook user.
Facebook user. So we don't know who you are, Facebook user. And I think this is the same user, says, if I don't have time for meditation, what else could I do? Any videos? Well, first thing to know that on divinelyguided.tv, we have a very thorough article that says how to connect with your spirit guides. So I would probably start there. There's a video. We did a Q&A on this about a little more than a year ago, where we did a live Q&A about how to connect with spirit guides. So I would watch that video. It's about an hour long. And then I would read the article that goes with the video that's on our website, because we go into a lot of detail. But that said, we're not going to leave you hanging tonight. I'm sure there's more that we can share with you. So tune in a little on that.
Well, so the first thing, learning how to connect with your guides and getting more spiritual, it really is about raising your vibration and getting into a loving space and learning more about yourself. It's really always about learning more about yourself. Every time you connect outside of you, it's more about what's going on within. And, so when you're getting spiritual and you're trying to connect with your spirit guides, the higher vibrational you get and the more clear and pure you are in your energy field, the better you can connect and the higher guidance you'll get. When you're in a lower state, you tend to connect with maybe lower state vibrations. I remember one time when I was first learning how to channel, this was actually kind of funny. I was like, okay, I'm going to connect with the highest of the high, because, I don't want to bother with like low information guidance.
She didn't want any like low rent ghosts. She wanted to go to the penthouse of
right. So
yeah.
I'm like, all right, I get into my elevator. I'm like, I'm rising. And I pop out of the top floor of this elevator, and I'm in this beautiful garden, and this tall being who's wearing this big, long blue robe, almost looked like Jesus, but wasn't Jesus in my mind. He sat down in front of me, and suddenly I felt like I was in an interview. And I was like, oh, hi. It's me, Jenn, and he was like, well, why do you want to connect? He was pretty serious. And I was like, well, I'm just curious about this stuff. He's like, you are not serious enough. You're not committed enough. Sorry. And I was like, oh man, I failed.
Oh no.
I failed. But I was really new, and I wasn't as into it as I am now. I was just, this is kind of cool. Let me connect with someone up there. And the more deeply I got into this, the higher the vibration I was able to connect with. And so that's really important, raising your vibration. And, if you don't have time for meditation, there are definitely videos. There's lots of things you can do to try to help you learn how to connect with your intuition. But meditation is so important, being able to quiet your mind, because to really connect with the guides, you need to remove a lot of the chatter. And sometimes it's easier to do that than others. And so training your mind is really important. And we still do that. Like, we're still training our minds. We're still training and trying to better ourselves, because it's never ending.
Yeah. And so what I would do, because here's the thing. It's not about having time for meditation. Like, when I was starting out, I literally only meditated for 5 minutes. And so meditation, I think that's the thing where people get caught up. They don't think they have time because they think it has to be like an hour or some. Ain't nobody got an hour to sit. I mean, I'm sure some people do, and I do sometimes, but I totally understand that argument. But there are ways you can meditate that are much more effective. And so when I was starting out, literally, it's more about consistency and dedication. So what I would do literally every day, first thing, I would get up, because it's easy to just like lie in bed and be like, yeah, I'm meditating. You're snoozing, right? Just get up, make your favorite morning beverage. I would brew a yerba mate tea. And while it was brewing, I would set a timer, and that was my meditation time. And so that type of tea, I think it takes 7 to 10 minutes. But by the time I had set the timer and walked away and then settled myself, and then, in between timers, I really only had about 5 minutes. And so I did that every single day. And that was massive for opening my intuition, just that 5 minutes a day at the very beginning. And then as I started to get more comfortable with it, a lot of times we say we don't have time because we sit down to do it and it feels uncomfortable. And it's just we want to avoid it. And so we're just like, I don't got time for this. You can stand it for 5 minutes. I would say that. And then once you do it, you get more comfortable. And you'll start to enjoy it after a time, after some consistency with it. And then what I began to do is, when I was ready to do more time, I would do it more in terms of moving meditation. So it could be something like I'm washing the dishes, but I'm not listening to anything else. I'm just very present with washing the dishes. Or more often than not, I would combine it with exercise. So I was doing something else. It was sort of a multitasking, but I would be really in the moment with the exercise so that it was a part of my daily meditation. It was meditative exercise. And some people will do that with walking meditation. They're not comfortable with sitting in meditation, and so they have to do some sort of a movement with it. So that's another idea. If you're just really uncomfortable with sitting, is choosing it. And, there's so many different types of meditations out there. So you might not have found the one that works for you. So, Jenn often talks about a focus meditation where you focus on a flame, or you focus on the breath. Or I like to talk about mindfulness, where you're actually just observing your own mind. There's also lots of guided meditations you can try, and they come in all different lengths. You can find a 3-minute meditation, all lengths, really. So we can always kind of work it in some way, even if it's just very brief. It all counts and it all helps.
Yeah, definitely. Another good time for meditation we have found, and a lot of people comment, is when you're in the shower, because the water really helps to clear things.
Yeah, and energetically, it's conducive to energy, and it helps people connect with guides.
And so many times you get messages when your greatest idea ever comes in the shower.
Yeah, we call them shower thoughts. And it's there's a lot of people have epiphanies in the shower, and it's often because that water is bringing them actual messages. Yeah, from beyond.
I just want to say, Lauren Regal says, "Oh, hi, tell me something wonderful." You have something wonderful? You are wonderful, Lauren. Go tell the whole world you are wonderful.
Yes, it's true. You're wonderful, Lauren.
So I
wish I had something more specific than that. Oh, interesting. There are lots of floating lights around my house. Could it be galactic friends or foe? I love you, Facebook user. These are great questions.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you mean around the house, like inside the house, or if it means outside the house, around the house outside. Mm-hmm. But either way, it could be galactic friends, and they could be friends or foe. So I know but we can talk more about that. So Jenn and I will often do, well, I shouldn't say often, but we sometimes do contact events where we'll find a
Yeah.
good place outside where it's good to connect with galactic friends. And they often do show up like floating lights. And so that could be, sometimes we've done them indoors. And so it can be floating lights like indoors or outside. Any of you all, anytime at night, if you go outside and you look at stars, and if you watch long enough, you'll find some of them move in strange ways that aren't.
Or they'll light up and then they shut down. Yeah, when we were in Sedona, we had some light up and then like shut down and then move and then light up over here. And you can see them, you can see it move. And it's just fascinating.
Yeah, so some would say those are ships, like galactic ships. If you're indoors and you see lights moving around, that's usually like an orb. It's usually a being. Stars, things that look like stars in the night sky are usually ships. Although I suppose it could be a big, beautiful being. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I've seen lots of orbs.
But yeah, always when connecting. So about that, whether it's friend or foe. So if you ever do attempt to connect or go out and look at the stars even, it's really important we find to be in the love vibration. So to vibe as high as you can and to exude loving energy of unity, because there are foes out there, people who you really don't, people, beings, aliens, whatever, that you don't want to connect with necessarily. They're not there for your best interest. So you do want to be pretty specific in your intentions if you do any work with attempting to connect with galactic friends.
Yeah. And that said too, when you're talking about foe and being really specific about what you're trying to connect with, a lot of people, when they get started in connecting with things spiritually, they're just like, whatever wants to speak with me, please come in. This is amazing. Yeah. So it can cause a lot of problems if you're not definitive about what you're looking to connect with.
Yeah. Specifics are good. I like this. I keep so many crystals under my pillow so I won't float off. LOL.
That would make me float off.
I know, right? I do often enjoy a good snuggle with a crystal at night. I know what you mean. Scarlett Davis, she does her best thinking in the shower. I'm sure you do. Let's see. Will the Sonics videos that are 428 hertz on low help lift up energy? That's a good question. I'm not familiar with all the different hertz and like what they each do.
Yeah, I think 428 is more about like that love vibration, if I remember correctly. I don't do a lot of that either, but I'm pretty sure that's about the love connection. Yeah, and a lot of those when they are specific to, is it 428, and then there's a couple other ones that are really good too. And I have like a thing on my phone which is being used with chat right now, but it has like all the different frequencies that are good for different things, like immune system and other things too. And I don't remember them all off the top of my head, but 428 I'm pretty sure is love. Yeah, and anything you can do, if you're listening, no matter what it is, if it lifts you up or makes you feel happy, listen to it. It could be like fun party music. If it makes you feel good, then that's lifting you up. If it doesn't, then it's probably not the thing to listen to before you connect. Yeah, there's a lot of really good things you can listen to.
I'll talk about Theta.
Yeah, well, we were just recently taking a class with Right Hemispheric.
Yeah, John Vivanco, Right Hemispheric Inc. He teaches remote viewing. So that was a class we were taking, and he recommends binaural beats because it basically puts your brain into a theta state, which is it's a very chilled out, relaxed state, and it makes it easier to connect and use your intuition.
And I do find that helps with me sometimes too. I've kind of played with using it and not using it. And I think it does add a little extra kick for me sometimes.
It's funny. I think it doesn't, and my guides insist that it does. So I should probably listen to them. But yeah, to find those, you can look on YouTube and just look up Theta binaural beats, and then use headphones with that, because the beats, the way they basically go from ear to ear, it entrains your brain into a more relaxed state.
Yeah, and then you listen to that for he calls it the cool down. You listen to it for about 10 minutes, and then you dive in. And start connecting.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a good one in terms of like how to get guidance without necessarily needing a full-blown meditation practice. I know it's sort of like meditating with the binaural beats, but it's only 10 minutes and it'll untrain your brain so you can connect pretty quickly.
All right. Lauren Regal wants to try it again.
Okay, we'll allow it.
Is there a particular goddess energy that I should be connecting with that would be particularly helpful? Or is there a specific goddess energy around me that would be helpful to be aware of?
Let's find out. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing Kuan Yin.
That would make sense.
Okay. Well, so I was asking why, and they said love and compassion. Let's see, what about love and compassion? And I heard good fortune. And so what I'm hearing about that is that we could all use more love and compassion. So that's not to say you're not loving and compassionate. We can always go deeper. There's infinite levels of that. But I'm also hearing it's for yourself. At full, self-love and full self-acceptance. That's another one that I'm learning, because I've always thought, well, not always, I used to struggle with self-esteem, and then I healed that, and I got to a point where I was like very confident and comfortable with myself. But it's one of those things where I realized there's an ever deepening journey of self-love and self-respect and self-confidence and feeling comfortable with yourself and not worrying about what other people think, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's part of the journey that they're asking you to have Kuan Yin help you with.
Yeah, it's funny. When I've worked with Kuan Yin, mostly in the past, it's when I've done a certain type of Reiki, Karuna Reiki. And they talk about the Bodhisattva, and the Bodhisattva is very much about, it's kind of like, it's the star seeds, basically. When you're coming back, you've already ascended to a certain level and you come back to help others. And so when I think of Kuan Yin, I think of Bodhisattva. I think of, someone who's just coming in to help others and is trying to be of service. And I feel like that energy is really important for you to connect with. And yeah, heck, it sure does take a lot of love and compassion to come back to this place and help others get through this. I mean, my gosh, this is a nutty time. It's a nutty time.
That's one way to put it. It is nuttier than a fruitcake for sure, yeah.
But yeah, I think connect with her or that energy of Kuan Yin so that you can, I think, more connect with your mission too. I think it's really a big part of who you are, and that star seedish kind of feel and bodhisattva feel of being of service to others. So yeah, I think that's a big reason why that's the name.
Okay, and I'm just hearing you have a lot to offer. So I think that connects back to the initial message too of sometimes we want to be of service, but maybe we're worried it won't be received well, or sometimes there's some self-doubt. So I'm just hearing to heal whatever that may be. If there's anything holding you back at all in that, or dinging your confidence, I think is what I'm getting.
Okay, and just a reminder, we're doing things a little bit different tonight. So Julie, I see Julie Getzinger, I see that you're saying would love a message from your guides. We're doing things a little bit differently. Be kind of specific. Do you have a certain area that maybe you're in the middle of a crisis, or that you're dealing with, or you're struggling with, or
a spiritual development
question? And the reason again why we're doing this, because some of you have joined late, is because we're in the time of the ascension. Things are nuts, and we're all kind of going through our own things.
Everybody's going through stuff.
Everybody's going through stuff. This is not the funnest time to be on planet Earth for a lot of us, and we tend to have a really good attitude about things. And even we've been struggling with certain things over the last few years, just trying to figure things out. And in that process, we grow, right? And so you use these catalysts in these difficult times to grow. And so we really want to help people access that for themselves, because once you get it, then you get past what the issue is and it feels so much better. And we want to help you feel good. So Julie, if you have a more specific question, let us know.
Yeah.
All right.
Facebook user. Thank you for participating. Facebook user says, on sunny days, I stand barefooted on grass closed, saying the I am. I see little white sparkles after I open my eyes.
Nice.
That's awesome. I bet you that really raises your vibration. So there's a few things about this. I know it's not a question, but this is just for everybody's edification. Sunny days. So number one, you're probably getting this like beautiful transmission from the sun. We really love that sun energy for healing and raising vibrations. So on sunny day, well, any day really, you can connect in with the sun's energy and ask for a healing transmission or ask of a transmission to raise your vibration. It's super awesome. So they also stand barefooted on grass. What does that do? That's another really great grounding practice, and it really helps balance your energy and to discharge all of the cruddy energy into, Earth. But Earth loves it. They can, Earth can recycle it into useful healing energy. So it's really good practice to ground barefoot on the earth and connect with your mother.
There was a really good documentary, and I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it was all about grounding.
Barefoot. Yeah.
And they have technology that does it too. And I can't remember if it's called earthing or grounding.
It's called earthing.
I think, yeah. But anyway, look it up. It was fascinating. I watched it a few years ago, and I was like, there is science behind this.
There is science behind it, and it's really healthy. It actually helps your body heal. Mm-hmm. So it's, great for the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health. Okay, so this person says the I am. So the I am presence, that's something that Jenn and I talk a lot about and something we're working on ourselves. The I am presence is your God presence. So if you just repeat I am, and it's usually spelled in capital letters, I am. So God.
I am.
Right? Because God just is, right? God's not like cute or bubbly or all the other things that we apply to our personality. God is just all that is. And so when you say I am, it helps you to connect to your God presence. And what I've seen visually with clairvoyance, sorry, I'm like having a hard time articulating this evening.
We've had a rough time tonight trying to get this thing to work.
Right? So yeah, we use this streaming software and they keep reconfiguring it. And then every time we come back, they've moved our cheese and we can't figure out how anything works. So it's been real fun. And you push any button and you just go live when you're not ready, apparently. So that happened. Okay. Anyway, we deleted it. Well, we tried. It's still probably all over the place. We didn't delete it from like 7 different places. Anyway, I am. Let's go back to our I am presence. So what I've seen visually in the clairvoyance is that if you say I am, there's something called a cosmic web. And what I've seen of it, it looks like a grid of light, like string lights kind of, in a grid pattern. And it connects all that is. So you have a cosmic web that runs through everything. So it runs through your body and it runs throughout the universe. So this entire cosmic web connects all things. We are all connected. We are all one. So when you say I am, it actually resonates. Your specific soul presence, your vibration gets rippled out on this cosmic web. And if you keep saying it, it's really just it establishes your God presence, your I am presence in the universe. And it's a very cleansing, clearing, healing, vibe-raising thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. So anyway, all that from one little comment. And then they said they see sparkles when they open their eyes. That's pretty cool.
Lolita Smith says, how do I ask a question? Just ask.
Yeah. Well, so how do you ask? So you type it into the comments and try to be specific either about something you're struggling about or some kind of a question about spiritual growth or development. Mm-hmm. So the questions we're taking tonight.
Julie Getzinger. How can I release the desire to always be working and having trouble relaxing? You're motivated.
Good for you, Julie. I mean, except, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Well,
So I would try to figure out, I'll tell you what question just came to mind. What are you running from?
Well, and what's coming to me, and I was just trying to make sure, is this, am I channeling this and getting this, or is this coming from me? But I think it was coming from your guides, because I feel you, honey. I so feel you. But the thing is it is the time of the ascension. This is a time of working, and sometimes depending on what you're doing and what your purpose is, there are periods where you're going to be working a lot, probably fingers to the bone kind of a thing, and there's time for rest later. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm feeling. Sometimes when we're having trouble relaxing is because I think they're honestly our guides are like, come on,
Just
get in there, a little more, and there's probably a good reason for that. But however, if you don't feel like it's coming from your guides, which I kind of feel like it is, I do feel like they're like, no, there's still a lot for you to accomplish. Much work needs to be done, kind of a thing. And there's only so much time in the day.
Yeah, I'm getting the same, like just confirmation. It's the season for it for you, and you're being driven to do it. But I am getting, just make sure you get enough sleep and make sure you get enough water, because that's really important. And here's the thing with work is that we can be relaxed while we're working. So it's really about that, being in flow and being in the moment and doing your best to enjoy the work, because there's different ways we can approach the work. One is that we're like grinding on it and it's stressful and it's unpleasant, or we can work in a way where we feel in flow and really relaxed. And so I am getting the tip of, there's different, so we talked about binaural beats, and there's different brain states that you can use with. So we talked about theta, but if you look up, I think there's different, and I can't remember the names of all the different brain frequencies, but I know there's beta, and there's delta. So if you look up what are the different brain wave states, they'll have different audios out there. I find sometimes when I'm working, if I use binaural beats with a specific brainwave state that I need for, say, focus or concentration when I really need to work, and then if you need to change your brainwave state to the theta is a relaxed state, that can also help you to kind of cool down when you're done with work, so that you have that break between work and sleep. And then I can't remember the brainwaves. I think it may be alpha, that's sleep. I can't remember, but I would look up what is the brainwave for sleep, and you can listen to that before you go to bed, and it can really help you drift.
I was thinking it was delta, but I might be wrong.
No, you're right.
Is that what it is?
Delta is sleep. Yeah. So yeah, but look those up, what the different brainwave states are, and I would find audios to help.
There's so many.
Yeah, there's a lot to help you and train your brain so that when you're working, you're in flow and you're able to concentrate and you're not stressed out. But then when it's time to turn it off, you can change your brainwave state.
Well, also too, I feel like, when we're working, even when we're doing things that we don't enjoy, that maybe isn't like mission related, like doing the dishes, the laundry or something like that, or taking care of the kids, where it just kind of feels like it's just things to do. I got to make their lunch. I got to get their dinner, take out the trash. It's often about the state of mind anyway, instead of it being like, oh, this to-do list, so I can get to what I want to do. All of it should be what you want to do. Right. And so like, there's this shift in perspective, where when you're doing the dishes, you could be in that meditative state at the same time, enjoying that moment and really being in the moment and being very present. And that helps you enjoy it so it doesn't feel like work, so that relaxation time kind of joins in with the to-do list of everything that you have going on. Yeah, it just kind of feels like, I think that's where the imbalance is the idea that you need to separate time of work and relaxation. I think usually when we need to do that, it's because we're seeing it as work, as opposed to it's our being, it's our presence, we're having fun, we're doing dishes, we're throwing suds around, I don't know, whatever, but it can be relaxing just doing those things. Yeah, I think that's all I'm getting. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a good point.
helpful.
Yeah, because you know what just brought to mind for me is like folding laundry is the bane of my existence. But if I put on like a show or something, so then it's like, all right, it's relaxation time because it's my evening TV show, for example. I don't watch TV. I don't even know what I would watch if I did this. But the times I have folded laundry in my life, if I put something on like that, like a YouTube video or whatever, and then fold the laundry, it's like a nice multitask where I'm relaxing, but I'm getting something done. That's just like well, I got to do it. Might as well enjoy it.
I'm the same way with dishes. I can't stand doing dishes, but I do them. And I've gotten into this place of just being kind of like, oh, it's time to do dishes. And if I start feeling like, I don't want to do the dishes, I'm like, I can be grateful for doing dishes. I can be grateful that I have people in my house to do dishes for. I can be grateful that, oh, okay, I can throw some suds around, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. But, you know, if you just shift that a little bit, whatever your idea of work is, maybe it is mission work, you know, but sometimes you get, all you want to do is mission work and you're so, it's hard to relax. But at the same time, if you're in flow and you're happy and grateful for everything that's coming around it, it won't feel like you need to have separate relaxation time, because that's more imbalance in need. Okay.
Oh boy. So Lolita Smith, I like your name. I haven't been able to sleep since this pandemic. It's gotten a lot better, my ability to go to sleep. I feel like worry and terror is hovering in the background. I stopped practicing acupuncture, found a regular job. I need some help. It's been challenged to balance work, sleep, and getting back to embracing my life that I feel I am not living to my fullest potential. What message do you vibe that the angels want me to know?
That's a great question.
Yeah. So I want to let's address the worry and terror hovering in the background. Like, let's, and because there's a bunch in there.
Well, first and foremost, your biggest enemy, my guides say this to me sometimes, and they just said it to me recently about something else actually, but your biggest enemy is fear. If you're really truly connected to the universe and spirit and God, however it is you see this, you will be in trust and in faith that all is working the way it's meant to. And you will then be able to live life without fear. Or if you do have fear, if it pops up, you'll be able to step through it courageously, right? Because you have trust and faith in what's coming. Not always easy for me to say, not always easy for us to practice, right? Because things happen and, we see what's happening around us. And, sometimes we take things too seriously, sometimes not seriously enough. And sometimes we don't trust ourselves. Sometimes we don't trust what we're being told. Sometimes we too much trust what we're being told. It's so hard to know what's real in a lot of this. And that's why we're big proponents of learning how to connect with your guides, because if you can connect with something outside of you when you're feeling like this, and you can get higher wisdom, a lot of times these things, it doesn't hit you that way, as far as fear goes.
Yeah. So, when it comes to worry, terror, fear, all that, what we found, it's about trust. It's about faith that you're held and that you're protected. The other thing initially I got, though, was saging your house, cleansing, because a lot of times negative energies, beings, it can kind of like hang around in the space. If you've ever walked into a room where there's been an argument or gossip or something, there's a sort of vibration that can hang in the space. And so you want your space to have really high vibe energy. And I was just getting that idea of calling in divine white light from the heaven, for example, to completely fill the space. Also thinking about things like closing portals and cutting cords. We do have on divinelyguided.tv, there's an article about how to create sacred space, and that will give a lot of information about different ways to cleanse and clear the space and raise the vibration. There's a short video at the beginning. I think it's maybe a 5 or 7 minute video, but you want to scroll down and really read the article, because that's where the meat of the information is. So I would definitely check that out. But so we talked a lot tonight about raising vibration. We want to raise the vibration of our bodies, but we also want to work on raising the vibration of our space. It's really hard to be in fear and terror, which is a low vibration, if you're high vibration, right? They don't conflict. So sometimes when they don't conflict. My brain do not compute tonight, you guys. Anyway, so
well, and I totally understood that. I was like,
yeah. Blah blah, you guys. Okay, so you can't be high vibe and in fear at the same time, because emotions correlate to different vibrations. So sometimes when we're in fear, we get stuck in it because we can't run from our fear. We feel like we can't change out of it. But if we sort of just say, okay, we put that over there, and we focus on, well, what's an activity or a thought or a book or a song that's going to raise my vibration, and then when we change our vibration, we're automatically out of fear. When we're afraid about something specific, like let's say it's not just hovering in the background, maybe you have like a good reason to be fearful, which I think a lot of these days people are afraid about money and this, that, and the other thing. So if there's something specific that you're afraid about, number one, see if it's a problem you can solve. Sometimes, like these days, people do feel like you say you had to find a regular job. We keep seeing this over and over again where people have a calling and then they have to like get a job. I'm just seeing this happen a lot because maybe there was money fear. And sometimes we just have to do what we have to do so that we're comfortable and we don't have that fear hanging around. I have seen some people just say like, I'm really like, let's take that example. They're really, really afraid. They really need a job, but they are in such resistance to that. They keep sabotaging or maybe not taking jobs because they keep looking for something that would be more fulfilling. Sometimes to get out of fear, we just have to grab onto the next best thing and know that something better might come along later.
Well, it will.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you have to get out of that state.
Yeah. You have to get out of fear and you have to take what's in front of you sometimes. So that's just, what it is. Sometimes when we're afraid, it's because we got to solve the problem.
Well, and all this conversation reminds me of, there's a book called The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, and it's written by Drinvalo Melchizedek. And he talks about this initiation that they used to do in the pyramids. And if I remember right, because it was a long time ago when I read the book, but he actually had a guided tour to do this. And you are sitting in this very dark part of this pyramid, imagine, all the spiders and the snakes and the things crawling around. He talked about that. Like there's all these things crawling around. And the whole idea of the initiation is to face your fear. And you're sitting there and you can feel these things coming out of the walls and crawling all over you. And it's crazy. And the first thing you want to do is jump up and get the heck out of there. But the whole point is to master your emotion of fear and to trust that you are in good hands and that you're not going to be harmed. And, in this day and age and what we're going through, that might be seen as kind of like, irresponsible or whatever. But honestly, I really see this as a giant initiation. We're in a collective initiation for the great awakening that we're all going through in this ascension period that's happening. As a collective, we are working on our ascension. We are working on the idea of healing and raising our vibes and getting to the next level as souls. And this is a giant initiation that we're all in. So conquering your fear is extremely important. You really need to master the emotions. And it's not easy, and it's not meant to be. And that's part of the key here. So what can you do specifically? Let's see if we can get into a little bit of specifics for her.
Yeah, to balance work and sleep and embracing her life.
I mean, you said you're an acupuncturist and you were practicing acupuncture, so clearly you're a healer. You are meant to be of service to people. And it sounds like that's the goal. I'm hearing it is. The goal is to get back into being of service to people.
I know that this isn't quite the answer you're looking for because it's already a challenge to balance work and sleep. But you're also saying, and getting back to embracing my life. So what I am getting is to not leave acupuncture entirely. If there is a way, because what I was getting is if you could see a few clients on the weekends, and I know that's rough when you're already working to have to see clients on the weekends.
Or in fear about the state of things.
Yeah. But it's even like if you just make time for like one client a week, it's like that idea of having that fulfillment and to not get rusty, of being in that space of problem solving for other people will really, I think, feed you and help raise your vibration and help you feel like you've still got it, that you're not losing that part of your life. And it's important.
So, I mean, I want to bring this to the wider audience as well. You know, many of us have had experiences throughout the last couple of years where we have felt fear of one sort or another in some way, right? I mean, I think all of us have had some sort of a challenge that has hit us in some way. And that is your part of your collective initiation. That is what you're meant to work through. And you know, when you're in an initiation, you need to earn the next level. It's like playing a video game where you're trying to figure out, like, how do you get to the next level? And that's basically what we're all doing. And we all have our own personalized versions of that. And for you, that is what is going on, you know, whether it's financial or it's the pandemic or it's, you know, I don't know, and name anything that's happened over the last couple of years. You know, or just seeing your friends and family again and not being, or the fear of loss of losing someone to something. You know, there's so many different aspects, and it's not about what's happening out there. It never is about what's happening out there. It's always about what's going on inside. There have been lots of people who have not been afraid at all, you know, about different things. They're like, no, I'm good. Yeah. You know, and I'm like, how? Because I feel like we're pretty good with things, and we still had some moments where like,
yeah,
what's going on?
Nail biting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but we all have our own personal versions of this, and a lot of us have been going through it lately. And the goal is to face it. And, you know, you got to face these things. You can't just run from it. You have to face it, and that's what you're here for. So.
Yeah, and I'm also hearing, too, it's an opportunity for emotional mastery, because everything that we go through, one of the things we're all here to learn is that it's not about what's going on outside of us. You know, we think it is. We think, oh, well, if only things would just like calm down, then I can feel good. It's not going to calm down. Like, from what I've seen, the world's just it's the time of the weirdness. We always say it's the time of the ascension, but it's the time of the roller coaster, really. So
I can think of a few other words.
Right?
I mean, because
that
really.
are not G-rated either, because I can think of some now too. So, right? So yeah, that's the thing. If we all have to stop waiting for things to like get back to normal or to calm down so that we can feel good. We get thrown into these catalysts so that we can learn how to heal, how to reach higher levels of consciousness, how to have a higher vibration, even when it looks like the world is falling apart. And so that's part of what we're all tasked to do and what our challenge is. And I'm once again going to send you back to divinelyguided.tv. We do have something on there called What is Ascension? So there's an article, it's called What is Ascension? And it goes into a lot of detail about ascension means raising your vibration at the end of the day. That's ultimately, you know, it's like a lot of healing work, but that
consciousness work
will explain, you know, when we face challenges and we're triggered, how do we use it to ascend? We have a lot of articles like that on the website. So like one is called Why Am I So Triggered? And there's another one called Navigating Catalyst for Your Ascension. So I would definitely poke around on the website because that can help make sense of why does everything seem so terrible? Why am I struggling to raise my vibration? It can help you to do what Jenn is saying, which is like, don't run from it, like how to face it and tackle it head on. Because we try to do that when we have our own challenges. We really try to not do the pity party thing. We really try to just roll up our sleeves and try to figure out how do we heal it? How do we solve it? How do we move through this?
Not that we don't have our moments, but we try to catch it quickly.
Yeah, because once we get into a spiral of complaining about something or worrying about it or being in fear about it, it's really hard to switch up the pattern. So we try to get in front of it as quickly as we can, because once you're in that downward spiral, it's much harder to catch yourself. It's not impossible. In fact, it's imperative to catch yourself and turn it around and to change your thinking and your perspective so that you can raise your vibration. And that's really what it's about for everybody.
Yeah. Well, we hope that helps. I know it can be a really scary time with everything going on, and we don't mean to diminish that at all. But at the same time, that's your work. That's what you're here for.
Right on.
All right.
Our favorite Facebook user says.
Well, it could be multiple Facebook users. We don't know, but
Facebook user says, will working with tarot cards help speak with guides, or is there something I should know first? So there's a lot of tools people can use for divination. So divination just basically means, people use a pendulum, ways that guides can kind of work through a tool or an object to send messages. And so anytime we want to work with guides, I'm going to harken back to the article we have about how to create sacred space. It's really like step one is to learn about that first. We also, again, have an article on the website about how to connect with spirit guides. But step one, sacred space.
And I just want to say, and a lot of people don't take us seriously when we say this, but I have known people who have had serious entity issues. I'm talking like it wrecked their lives because they were using a pendulum without getting in sacred space. So please get into sacred space. Like, be really sure about who you're speaking with. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. And not to harp on this, but we're going to harp on it. Like, don't even do this. I'm like shaking the whole table. You guys harp on it. This is important. So
I don't know.
But listen to me. Okay. No,
Sorry.
Laughing. Sorry. Okay, so here's the thing not to do. Don't just be like Archangel Michael. Because you can get something that to be like, oh, today I think my name is Archangel Michael. You can get, you know what I mean?
I identify as.
I identify as Archangel Michael today. Somebody called my name. So you really want to.
I've seen that too. Yeah.
Yeah, we have. So you really want to read that article. Both of the articles, how to connect with your spirit guides and how to create sacred space, both of those address how to avoid being interfered with. And so I would recommend, before you connect at all, reading both of those very thoroughly, digesting them, and even taking notes, making sure you understand. Because it addresses lots of stuff.
Yeah. But tarot cards are amazing.
They are. I love them so much. So yeah. So in terms of like, you're saying, will it help speak with guides? Pulling cards can help the guides get a certain message across with the card. And a lot of people use them to start at least getting that feeling of connection and trying to see, what do they want me to know? That said, clairaudience, which is like, hello, it's the guide phone for you. I can hear them talking in my ear. It might not like kick up exactly in that way. It might be more of like knowings or pulling a card and being like, oh, wow, this makes perfect sense. So it might be a way that they're sort of, quote, speaking to you that's not literal.
I mean, even if you're doing like, I'm going to pull one card and this card's going to be my card for the day and it's going to give me whatever answer I need. You want to make sure you're getting it from your guides or from the universe that's benevolent and wanting to help you, not from something that's trying to create interference.
Yeah, because I've even pulled cards when, like, if I'm being interfered, I can do all the things. Here's the thing. Sacred space, always use discernment. It's never airtight. It can be interfered with. So it's one of those things where even if you go through all the motions and you create sacred space, at the end of the day, you have to really get in touch with yourself and see, does this resonate? And if it's something that a message you're getting that feels like it could be life-changing or devastating or urgent, it's like, do your best to sleep on things like that, because we've seen people do things like quit their jobs, which was like bad guidance, and they wound up in a bad position. So it's always good to be very cautious when connecting and to try to get second opinions if it's about like a huge decision. And I've pulled cards before where I'm like, I'm being messed with. So it's like sometimes you just go, okay, well, today's not the day for that. So it can happen.
Yeah, and sometimes too, even when you're intuitive, you'll have days when you're better at connecting than others, or certain times in your life when you're better than others. And it's important to honor that too. There's just going to be times when you just don't feel like you're getting it, and other times you are nailing it all the time and you're really connecting.
Yeah, and to not get in your ego about it either way, it's just kind of, it is how it is. No intuitive is 100% of the days. It's just how it is.
Because we are human.
Because we are human beings.
I don't know. I'm galactic. But,
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Sandy Schrader. Nice to see you too.
My dog is making weird noise.
Hello.
She's been snoring quietly this whole time, and she just got up.
I'm not sure what that's saying. Try multitasking, watch movie, read, and the popping bubbles came out.
Yeah, this has been going a lot lately.
That must have been a comment to something we were saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Amy Money says, hey ladies, how can I connect with my guides? I try to connect with my guides nearly every day and I get nothing. Thanks.
Oh,
okay.
Sad face.
I know. All right, we'll tune in and see. I just heard it's about raising the vibe, raising the vibe, raising the vibe. And I am getting too, it's about your space and your person. That's important. I had somebody tune in on my space here recently and it was bad in here. And I knew it was bad. But I couldn't pinpoint like where was it getting in, where was it coming from? And he was able to pinpoint it's on the ground floor, there's like a drain. And I was like, oh yeah, the powder room on the back, it's like a freaking haunted house in there. I've always had issues. It's like something annexed that as its own thing. So when I try to clear my whole house, the thing that lives there is like, except for my house. Like, so anyway, my guide friend who helped me with this issue made some suggestions for me for cleansing and clearing the space. I'm just hearing I can share it. So it was, well, the bowl's in there right now, but it's like a copper bowl, the layer of salt, sprinkled some sage in the bowl and some mugwort, which is like a type of herb. So sage, mugwort on a bed of salt, and if you've ever, I don't know if you've ever saged or not, but you light the sage on fire, you wait for it to kind of catch and light, and then you blow it out so that the embers are just doing this sort of low smoky burn. And so the smoke can help cleanse and clear the space. So that's one way. But once again, there's so many different, we don't recommend only cleansing via tools. Like tools, yes, they're fabulous, but it's also important to have your own vibe high and your intentions locked and loaded for the high vibeness. See, I'm just very articulate tonight. Okay.
Well, I'm also getting too that, a lot of times we've lived past lives. A lot of the people that are interested in being psychic or having these experiences, we've lived past lives with psychic abilities and have been persecuted for it. And I'm really getting that about you. So there is like this part of you that is holding back and not wanting to, and it's subconscious. You wouldn't even notice it, or maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe there's a fear of what people might think, and that could be playing a part of it. But I definitely feel a connection to past life persecution. And with that, there's quick ways and usually somewhat easy ways to heal that. But yeah, I would do that. I would look at, past life, maybe do some journaling about what are your fears around being psychic, or, even the word psychic used to really bother me. And it still sometimes is going, I don't know, but I always preferred the word intuitive, because psychic has a connotation with it. But, whatever it is, if you notice anything like that around you, or with you, or how you see things to do with this whole world, through the idea of being psychic or having abilities or healing people, being spiritual, whatever that is, write it down and then maybe see one of us or someone else that you trust and work on healing and working through it. I just heard it's really important. I think between cleansing your space and raising the vibration and really, this is about your God connection, and I think a lot of times too, people think that, well, I just want to go get those answers out there because they have all the answers, which, I know I'm guilty of sometimes too. And sometimes it does feel that way, like you have to know better than I do, which sometimes they seem to for sure. But the idea is to come into your own God presence and your God self and to really be who you are within you and to access that, right? So if you can really come at it from that space, not caring about what anybody else thinks about it and not being in fear of any kind of persecution around it, I feel like it's going to really open up. So.
Yeah, I was also getting with that about the healing work. So it's healing and clearing of all the things that Jenn was saying. But then I feel like you'll be able to have a third eye activation and opening. But I think the healing has to come first. But then it could even happen within the healing session. But having that activation. So what I found when it comes to really being able to get really clear intuitive guidance, the heart chakra needs to be healed and open, and the third eye chakra needs to be healed and open. Throat as well. So it's really the focus on those. And before those can be healed and open, the lower chakras have to come first. So
to get really good, high quality guidance, because I've seen people who are like mediums and psychics, and they're not really healed, and they're definitely getting information and sometimes really direct and accurate information, but it's not necessarily high vibrational stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the thing. I think sometimes people just want to be psychic, and it's like, well, there's a specific kind that you want to be. And so to do it right means having all those lower chakras healed and open first, which means things about like survival and creativity and your relationship. So you want to really have a good foundational healed basis, then moving into having that big open heart without fear of being screwed over. Your boundaries are strong. Everything's in like great working order from that standpoint. And then it's like these are these higher level evolutionary functions that it's a really great time to focus on that. But I see sometimes people wanting to be psychic too early in their healing and their growth process, and it's not a good idea in terms of interference or connecting with things you really don't want to be connecting with.
Yeah, because you have too many hooks. You have too many things that the more negative beings who would want to connect with you or manipulate you. You have too many ways for them to access you, and you're too easy. You know what I mean? It's like you're an easy target when you do that. But I do want to say, so Facebook user, I don't know if it's the same one or different. I don't know. But Facebook user said, "Wish I had some psychic ability. Dang, I'm always so go, go, go." Well, you do have. Everyone has that ability. Most people would say that they heard the phone ring and they knew who it was before they knew who it was. Well, that's psychic ability. Or you've had, dreams where you predicted what was coming. Or you just had a sudden feel you knew something was wrong, and then you find out a half hour later that something happened. Most people have had those experiences because we are all connected to that information, right?
Via that cosmic web, we're all connected. Right on.
Yeah. But getting it and receiving it and doing it on purpose, definitely get your healing going, get the consciousness going, and really develop and define yourself, and know that it's never about like you're never done. There's always a lot to do, and as far as the development and the work and getting better and better and honing those skills. Mm-hmm. Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right, guys.
I think that's all for tonight.
Thank you. Divinely guided.
Yeah. There's a lot there to explore, and thank you for joining us this evening. And next month, I will have just moved into my new house. Figure that out.
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to try to do it the first Thursday. This is why things have been really crazy.
I'm moving on June 1st, and the next Thursday is June 2nd. So,
yeah. Yeah, we might need to change
So we
the
might
date
do
or something.
like a little bit further into June, but
Yeah.
we'll let you know and we'll figure it out. So stay tuned.
And we might also start doing something on a weekly basis where we just have we'll put in a post in Divinely Guided Facebook page. And, what you can do is you can throw in a question and we can do a reading, and we might do like one a week. So like throw in your questions, we'll pick whichever one we feel drawn to work with. And that way it can engage with you guys a little bit more, because we used to come on here every week.
That's right.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
And then you can ask a little bit more personal questions.
Yeah. All right, you guys.
Right.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we love you guys.
We'll see you soon. Who knows when. All right.
Bye.
Bye.